Hello everyone. This is Dr. Ilyas from the Department of Education, Hazara University, Mansehra. Today we are going to discuss the concept called reflection or reflective practice. You can say reflective practice um, is a cousin or a sibling of the concept of critical thinking. This concept has been traced back to especially in terms of education and teacher education, to John Dewey, who was an influential 20th century American educationist. And John Dewey actually made a distinction between routine, which is like action driven by tradition, habit, and authority, and reflective action, which involves a willingness to engage in constant self appraisal and development. So, routine action is something that we just follow out of habit or because of tradition or because someone in authority has told us. So, while reflective action, on the other hand, is something um, where we actually come up with more independent thinking while we are doing some action. So, do we actually think that reflection is a kind of behavior which involves active, persistent, and careful consideration of any belief or practice in the light of grounds that support it and further consequences to which it leads? So, a reflective person will be someone who will actually think critically about his own beliefs and actions, and not just that, but also the consequences of his beliefs and actions will come under the scrutiny. Then reflection is has also been regarded as a specific behavior or a frame of mind and attitude of an individual or an organization, which requires the development of several attitudes and abilities. So, for reflection to take place, there should be certain attitudes and abilities that include introspection, which is a kind of thinking about one's thinking, open mindedness. So, keeping your mind open to other possibilities, and willingness to accept responsibility. So, a reflective person actually also takes responsibilities for his decisions and for his thoughts and actions. Then, the next thing is that there has been um, a number of levels have been associated with the concept of reflection. So, for example, Von Manen has written a very influential paper on the concept of reflection, and he has associated this with three levels called technical level of reflection, the interpretive level of reflection, and the critical level of reflection. Now, what is technical level of reflection? Technical level of reflection is basically the application of knowledge to achieve predetermined objectives. So there are already objectives, and the person who is thinking at the technical level is just trying to think about how to actually achieve those objectives which are already predetermined. So if a teacher is thinking at the technical level, what he or she will be doing is they will not concern themselves with the aims or the process of education. The main question at this level, which is like the beginner level or the technical level, is how to teach rather than why teach what is being taught. So, this is the first level where the teacher's focus is on the practical delivery of teaching material in the classroom. Then comes the interpretive level of reflection. This is the second level of reflection, and at this level, the the reflective thinker, or in this case the teacher, goes beyond the scrutiny of application of means and examine the efficacy of means towards the achievement of goals and ends. So at this level, the teacher thinks about whether the method he or she uses are adequate for the effective teaching or not. And then comes the critical level of reflection, which is according to this model, is the highest level of reflection. At this level, what happens is that there is consideration of the technical level things and the practical level things, but at the interpretive level of things. But at this third level of things of reflection, what actually happens is that the reflective thinker at this level uh, takes into account the moral, ethical, and political criteria and examines practices of justice, equity, and morality. So, if a teacher is teaching a subject, he or she at this level of reflection will not just be thinking about how to teach, but also they will be thinking that what they are teaching is actually leading to is actually moral or ethical, and is will that actually aid to justice, equity, and morality in the society or not. So in a way, this is the kind of uh, in terms of both pedagogy and content, the teacher at this level of reflection is actually thinking about the uh, the material or the method in terms of justice. And so at this highest level of reflection, the teacher is not simply concerned with the goals and activities and assumptions behind them, but he or she is also reflecting upon the larger context where all education exists. And so, overall, reflection at the critical level, or it is also called critical reflection, is a process of becoming aware of one's context, of the influence of societal and ideological constraints on previously taken for granted practices. So, um, a teacher is not just coming into the class and teaching things. A teacher is actually asking whether the course that he or she is teaching, or the material that he or she is transmitting to the children, is actually um, leading to justice in the society or not. So, overall, there are other people as well who have defined reflection in their own ways, and one very important writer is Zeitner, uh, who associate the terms such as teacher as a technician when his primary concern is accomplishment of ends described by others, and the teacher as a craftsperson when he associates classroom actions with educational goals, and the teacher as a moral crafts person, which is like the third level of reflection, who is able to show concern for moral and ethical implications of educational the educational process. So the highest level of reflection. Overall, we can conclude that reflection is the process of making the teaching learning process more deliberate, purposeful, and goal oriented. So, a teacher is not coming to the class to teach like a robot. He or she actually thinks about the very aims of his teaching, and the aims of curriculum, and the aims of the educational process as a whole. So, the questions that a reflective teacher may ask is, what am I teaching? What am I supposed to teach? Then, how am I teaching it? Am I teaching it in the right way? And how should I teach? And then the third very important question is, why am I teaching what am I teaching? So if I'm teaching something, um, some subject, some book, or some topic, why am I teaching that? How will that actually impact the students and the society as a whole? And other such questions. If you are actually interested in learning about this concept in more detail, um, I would suggest you go to this site. This is actually the University of Leicester website where my own PhD thesis on the concept of reflection is available. And so this is the title of the thesis. You can just click here and actually go and read the concept in more detail. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions related to the concept, I'll be happy to respond to those. You can give those questions in the comment section below this presentation. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.